Welcome everyone once again. This is Pinnacle Professional College, and today we are doing a case study analysis and breaking down exactly how to analyze a case study for the ICA Ghana exam. And so we'll be looking at the May 2020 past question, and we'll be using that as a test case for practicing on how to analyze a case study. So let's begin. One of the key things when it comes to case study analysis is attention to detail. Attention to detail. Every little detail matters, especially when you're analyzing the pre-seen material. So for those who don't know what the pre-seen material is, it's basically a material that is sent before the exam, which students are expected to evaluate and analyze to gain a contextual understanding of what kind of questions will be asked in the exam. And so this pre-seen material comes, let's say about 2 weeks or a week before the exam, so that you can basically analyze it and familiarize yourself with the company in discussion. So when we are analyzing the case study, every single detail matters. So let's look at the pre-seen material. So the question says, the beginning of Customer Focus Limited. The beginning of Customer Focus Limited. It says Customer Focus Limited was registered to begin trading on 1st January 2007. 1st January 2007. So this first sentence is important because it gives you an understanding of when Customer Focus Limited received their certificate to commence business, to begin trading. And the case is telling, the pre-seen material is telling us that they began on 1st January 2017. Now, the time of commencement is very, very important. Every organization has a life cycle, and the time they are introduced into the market says a lot, because you want to understand the context within that time frame. So in 1st January 2017, what are some of the things that were happening in the external environment? And so this is Ghana, and we want to understand, okay, what exactly was going on during that time? Was it a pre-election time or a post-election time? This is right after Christmas, and so you would want to understand basically what was happening in the external environment during 1st January 2017. So that's very, very important. That's very, very important to understand. And so the date of commencement, you should always situate things in context. As we go through the case, if we are told anything around the date of commencement, that will give us some more detail on exactly the beginning of this company. And it says it's opened a retail food near one of the key malls in Accra. Near one of the key malls in Accra. So this is a very, very important statement, right? Because here it's telling us about location. Location. Now, we've studied in our previous videos about the four P's, and one of them is place, which talks about location. So location is very, very key when starting a business. And it looks like Customer Focus Limited, which I'll be calling CFL going forward, have done a good job in terms of location. But you need to understand the pros and cons when it comes to location. Since this is they are close to one of the key malls in Accra, I would assume that it's expensive to rent in such places. So how is this going to impact their P&L? At this point, we are not too sure whether they own this space or they rent it. It's likely that they rent it. So the pro is that they're at a good location, or the advantage is that they're at a good location because they are near one of the key malls in Accra. The disadvantages, or the other side, or the flip side, could be, the rent that they are going to be paying and how that is going to affect their P&L, as as well as the fact that when you are close to key malls, one of the things you could experience is high competition. So that's something to think about. And it says they have a promise to customers to provide three important things. So it's those three things that I would like us to note. It says low prices, great value, and high quality every day. So you would want to look at their objective or their plan for the customer, or their strategic objective is to give low prices, great value, and high quality. But what are the implications of this? In order to, get low prices, there's an implication, right? To get low prices, it means that you must buy at a low cost. And what does it mean? If you have to buy at a low cost, then it means that your supply chain and negotiation when it comes to procurement should be very, very good, so that you can contract goods or you can contract items from whoever you are buying from at a very, very low cost, so that you can sell to the customer at a low price. And when it comes to great value as well, that's the same thing. You need to get a very, very good supplier to give you items that provide value for the customer. So these three things, when it comes to low prices, great value, and high quality, these three things are highly dependent on your supplier, and how you manage your supplier relationships, and basically at what price or at what cost are you going to get your items for. It is going to influence whether you'll be able to give low prices, great value, and high quality. Your supplier too should be able to give you high quality goods. And if they don't, it affects your strategic objective, since this is what CFL, or Customer Focus Limited, want to do every day. It sounds like they have a customer focus here. From this sentence, it seems like they have a customer focus, hence their name, Customer Focus Limited. It goes on to say that the founding investors were three Ghanaians: Bakpo, Ama, Akwesi Boateng, and Mary Aqua. Now, like I said, every sentence, you need to analyze it from a pros and cons perspective. You need to analyze it from a pros and cons perspective. So the founding investors were three Ghanaians. So what is the pro here, or what is the advantage here? These people are from the same country, and so the culture is the same. They might understand each other and gel with each other a lot more easier than people from different countries. So let's say if this team was composed of people from different countries, let's say one from Africa, one from Asia, one from Europe, coming together, because of the cultural differences, it will take time for them to understand each other on a personal level. So there are three Ghanaians who have come together. Yes, they are all Ghanaians, so they understand the culture. But sometimes too, if you have diversity from different countries coming together as one, also promotes diversity of thought. What I would like to know here more is basically the experience levels of these people. It says the business owners are actively involved in the management of the store. They are actively involved in the management of the store. So these are owners who are also managing. These are owners who are also actively involved in the managing of the store. Are there any advantages to that? Will it be advisable for them to get a group of people who have experience in the retail food store space to handle a lot of the management activities for them? These are questions that we would want to ask ourselves going forward. Now, one of the key things we need to know here is that this pre-scene material. It's giving us a background to exactly who Customer Focus Limited is, right? So here they've talked a lot about the founders, they've talked a lot about how the commencement and the location of Customer Focus Limited. Now we are delving into the capital structure. The capital structure. It says that the initial equity capital of the business was provided by them. So when it comes to the initial equity capital, it was provided by the founders. So they put in their money. They put in their money, personal money into the business to run the business. Right? And so they have a stake in the business. They all have a stake in the business. And when you have a stake in the business, you tend to treat it as your own. So that's an advantage right there. Then you also have, it says additional debt capital was also raised at the same time. So as part of the capital structure, you also have debt. And as we all know, the implications of debt. Debt comes with interest. And so here, as you're analyzing this case, so once you've seen debts coming with interest, what will be the effect on their P&L? What are the interest rates that are being charged here? And for what is the term of the loan that they've gone for? All these things are going to impact them as a business. Coupled with the fact that it is likely that they are renting, the store that is near to one of the key malls in Accra. Also, another thing you want to know is that is this debt capital that they've raised designated in dollars or is it in cedis? The same for rent as well. If they are renting, is the rental fee designated in dollars or cedis? If it's designated in dollars, then it means that when the cedi depreciates, that becomes a huge problem because you have to exchange a lot of cedis to pay for your debt. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Then it goes ahead to say a retail unit was rented near one of Accra's leading malls for an initial period of 5 years. So yeah, we are told here that a retail unit was rented. So basically they are renting. So that's what you need to know. Very, very important. They are renting. They are renting. So this is going to have an impact on their P&L. And it's for an initial period of 5 years. 5 years. So that's quite a long time, right? That's quite a long time. And so these rental fees are going to impact their financial statements for at least an initial period of 5 years. But the benefit here is that it offers sufficient retail space for a wide variety of food products. Initially, it goes ahead to say that initially the focus was mainly on selling packaged and processed foods. So this was the initial plan. The initial plan was that the focus was mainly on selling packaged and processed foods. So this was their product portfolio. They were focusing on packaged and processed food. And what was the rationale? What was the rationale behind this? So that customers could buy food that was convenient to cook at a time when it suited the busy Ghanaian office worker. So they seem to have a target audience in mind. Right? They seem to have a target audience in mind. So they are thinking about the busy Ghanaian office worker who likes processed food, something they can, have on the go, they don't need to spend too much time to cook it. And so this is something that's important for, Customer Focus Limited. And it's always important that organizations have their target audience. But one of the things that's important when defining a target audience is that you want to understand whether the target audience is wide enough or deep enough for you to achieve your revenue targets. So that's what we'll be looking into as we go along in this case. Now, one of the things I need to mention is that when you are going through the pre-sin material, there are certain models that you need to keep in mind or have at the back of your mind while you are going through the pre-sin material. Number one is SWOT analysis. As you go through the pre-sin material, you would see strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Please note them down. Please note them down. So one of the strengths we are seeing here is that they have a good location. Customer Focus Limited has a good location. So so that's important to have at the back of your mind when analyzing the pre-sin material. Another model that you should also take note of is the pestle analysis, which is looks at the external environment, the political, economic, social, technological, ecological, and legal factors. The pestle model is also important. So as you are going through it, fish out for the strengths, fish out for weaknesses, fish out for opportunities, look out for threats, and also use the pestle framework as well. And as we are having this discussion, you'd see a lot of these issues come up. Okay, so we are moving on to talk about the next sentence, which I would like you to take note of. So it says the business owners had all previously worked for the food retail stores in managerial roles and knew much about food retailing. So this is an advantage, right? The founders here, which is the strength, the experience of your founders is a strength. They have experience when it comes to the food retailing business because they've worked in managerial roles. It says the previous owners had all previously worked for the food retail stores in managerial roles. So that is something that is a strength here. It's a good thing that Customer Focus Limited has. But the only question I would raise here is that even though they've worked in managerial roles, do they know do they know how to run a business? Being an employee is different from being an owner. So I would like to find out, okay, yes, they have experience when it comes to managerial roles in the food retail stores, but do they have experience running and owning a business? That's a different issue. So next sentence, it says, however, they had never considered what it meant to run a business. So you see, we are told here that they never considered what it meant in running a business. So that is, a weakness. They do not know exactly what it takes to run a business in terms of attracting customers and dealing with the new environment in which they face. So that's something to keep at the back of your mind. Even though these people are skillful when it comes to, because they've had managerial experience in the food retail space, this is their first time venturing into owning something, and so there are a lot of hurdles when it comes to owning something. You need a different mindset when it comes to owning and running a business in that regard. Even though competition was tough, the business owners realized that store location was paramount to the business success. And in this, they had proved to be correct. So, like we mentioned earlier, they are close to one of the key malls in Accra. So competition would be an issue. So competition here, competition is a threat, because it exists in the external environment. And so it's a threat. If you haven't watched our videos or my videos on the strategic models, you want to go back and go and watch it. So even though competition was tough, the business owners realized that store location was paramount to the business success. And in this, they are proved to be correct. So competition will be one key issue. How do they handle competition? how do they manage the competitive forces in the environment? How are they able to make themselves unique or differentiate themselves in such a way that they are, different from their competitors, And you can differentiate yourself in many ways, right? So, for example, if your competitors are not doing, delivery or are not, they don't have an online platform where you can buy, food, you can, CFL or Customer Focus Limited can step into that zone and own that space and become a master in that distribution channel where customers can just, order for food online and it will be delivered to their home. So when competition becomes tough, organizations find different ways of handling it. So let's move on to, I hope it's quite clear. So let's move on to the next heading. Now, let's talk about the Onus. The Onus. So Kpakwama, his age is 43. So here, in this space, I would like you to take note of the experience of the people, the age of the people, and basically the diversity in the team, right? So let's look at Kpakwama. Let's look at Kpakwama first of all. So Kpakwama is age 43 and he has 20 years of experience. So this is good. He has a lot of experience in the food retail sector and he's worked across all functions. So he has a bird's eye view when it comes to all the functions in the retail store. So, that's a plus. That's a plus. But his experience, was in a large store on the outskirts of Accra. So it wasn't in Accra, it was on the outskirts of Accra. So maybe one of the things we want to know here is that what were the dynamics of that market? Is it similar to, operating a food retail store in Accra? Maybe the target audience is different. And so Kpakwama, might be lacking in one or two things when it comes to operating a food retail store in Accra. Because here they are telling us he began in a large store on the outskirts of Accra. So that's where he began. He probably ended up somewhere in Accra during his career, So he seems to have experience when it comes to the outskirts of Accra. We are not told yet whether he worked in Accra. So that's something to watch out for. So, but the main thing here is that he has a lot of experience. He has a lot of experience in the food retail sector. So this is relevant experience. And you have Akwesi Boateng, who is a 37. It says he worked first in education, but later changed to a business career, originally in banking operations and later in food retail in Kumasi, before being invited by Kpakwama to work with him in Customer Focus Limited. So this is someone who has a multidisciplinary career. So initially he began in education. I think he worked in banking for a while. Then he got some experience in food retail in Kumasi, So probably he can pick some learnings from Kumasi to Accra, but one of the things you need to know is that markets are different and the customer characteristics in Kumasi might be different from Accra, So this might be, even though he's worked in the food retail space before, the Accra market might be a bit different to him. And we do not know yet whether his experience in education and in banking operations is relevant, or we do not know the extent to which it's relevant in the food retail space. It's probably relevant and he can bring some ideas from the different industries he's worked in into the food retail space. So this is something that is important to note here. It seems that he knows Kpakwama, and so probably they have a relationship prior to the setting up of Customer Focus Limited. Now let's move on to Mary Aqua. Mary Aqua is a lady, and she's a 25. She's very young. She graduated with a business degree, and this is her second job in food retailing. She's keen and committed to developing the marketing function of Customer Focus Limited and provide better customer relations to help grow the business. So one of the things we note here is that Mary came out of school. I think she's 25, so she probably graduated 23 years. She came out of school. This is her second job in food retailing. So she's not that experienced. She's not too experienced. She seems to be passionate, but there's a difference between being passionate and being experienced. So she doesn't have a lot of experience. And I'm wondering if she's going to be able to handle an entire marketing function of a new organization like Customer Focus Limited. So that's very, very important to note here. Mary Aqua is not too experienced. She's passionate though. And it says Customer Focus Limited has traded successfully and profitably since its launch, although there are challenges ahead. So the good thing is that this company is doing amazingly well at the moment. Let's hope that nothing tragic hits them. So yeah, that's it about the owners. Kpapo has a lot of experience. He's worked in different functions when it comes to the food retail space. He began in a large store on the outskirts of Accra. So he has the experience, He probably moved on to another food retail store in Accra. So he's familiar with the market. It's possible that he's familiar with the market. Then Akwesi Boateng, who has a multidisciplinary career, like he's worked in different industries. And I would say his experience is not up to Kpapo, but it's quite okay. Mary doesn't have a lot of experience, and so that's something we'll be looking out for. So these are some of the things we note when it comes to the owners. It's important to understand the background of the owners, right? One of the things when people do when buying shares is that they try to understand who are the owners, who is the management team, who are the people handling affairs, because the quality of the people determine the success of the organization. Now let's move on to the next thing, which is the food retail market in Ghana. So here we are talking about the industry. Very, very key. I hope you are following me step by step. So the food retail market in Ghana has basically three sectors, which is the supermarket, which is 5%, convenience stores, 40%, traditional markets, 55%. There's tension in Ghana and many African countries between the growth of supermarkets / convenience stores and traditional markets. When incomes rise, so this is an important point, that's what I'm underlining. Consumers look for convenience in their food purchases and they're able to pay more. So this is an important point. So when incomes rise, so immediately your mind should go to the pestle model, which talks about, and you need to focus on the economic factors. So here, people's disposable income is increasing, and so you see a change in their behavior, a change in terms of what they look out for, what they seek to buy. So when incomes rise, people look for convenience. People look for convenience and they're able to pay more because they have more income. For food that is sold in expensive retail outlets that are close to other traditional retail outlets. And what happens is that you see, because when incomes rise, you see people switching from traditional markets, to the convenience / the supermarkets, convenience store / the supermarkets, because people have more to spend, and want to identify a lot more with the supermarkets and the convenience store. Hence, the traditional markets are losing customers. So that is the background. That's the background. The competition between supermarkets / convenience stores and traditional markets break down breaks down into income levels and purchasing power when a noticeable division in consumers arises. So two key factors here, which is income levels and purchasing power, and they are both related, right? They are both related. When incomes rise and incomes become, disposable income available to customers increases, they're able to purchase more or purchase what they want. They have options. And so it's likely that you see movements from the traditional market space to the convenience store / the supermarkets, And these are things that exist within the external environment. These are external factors that are operating that have an impact on Customer Focus Limited. So this is something we would want to take note of, And so how does this even benefit Customer Focus Limited? Because people are moving from traditional, right, to the convenience stores and the supermarkets. Customer Focused Limited falls within the category of the latter. And so it's an advantage to them once people are leaving traditional markets and coming to them. But how exactly are they supposed to take advantage of this? It says the competitive struggle has often been characterized along the lines of price, quality, and convenience. Price, quality, and convenience. If you realize, when we're talking about the strategic objectives or the goals that Customer Focus Limited has for its customers, it says low prices, great value, and high quality. So it seems they have captured, that in, when you look at these 3 pointers that are critical success factors for, outcompeting your peers. Price is one, quality is one, and convenience is one. Customer Focus Limited talked about low prices, so that deals with the price section. Talked about high quality, that deals with the quality section. And they talked about great value. When you offer convenience to customers, that is also great value. So you see how everything shapes into it nicely. Now let's move on to more information. It says supermarket retailers, right? Supermarket retailers, whilst facing higher rents. So you see exactly what we are talking about from the beginning, Higher rents is a huge problem due to location. Higher standards of fitting out and presentation are able to buy in bulk and also engage in loss leader selling and other marketing activities which are attractive to the modern consumer. So one key issue here is what is happening here. You see high rents. And this high rent is as a result of location. And this is going to affect Customer Focus Limited. This is something that is seen within that industry, because the location is one, higher standards of fitting out and presentation. Another thing is that it says supermarkets retailers are able to buy in bulk, so that's a good thing, and also engage in loss leader selling. So loss leader selling, let's explain what loss leader selling is. Loss leader selling is basically where you sell below the costs for which you bought something. You sell below the cost for which you bought something. So that's very, very important. You are selling below the cost for which you bought something. So you are selling at a loss, basically. You are selling at a loss. So that's something to keep in mind. So why would somebody want to sell at a loss? Why would somebody want to sell at a loss? Does it even make sense? Why would somebody want to sell at a loss? Usually, when organizations enter a market and they are new to the market, this is one of the things that they do to attract customers, right? So they do this to get customers and then increase their prices later. So if they buy a product, a food item for, let's say, 5 Ghana cedis, which is the cost. They might sell at 4 cedi, 90 pesos, you know. And this is the intention, you know. The intention is that when they sell at that very, very low price, the customer comes into the store, you know, and the customer doesn't only buy the item, but buys other items as well. So they are able to retain the customer and get the customer to buy more. So you see the logic here. They get the customer to buy a lot more. And they also retain the customer, and they also attract customers from other competitors, you know, from other competitors. Traditional markets rely on social networks and long relationships with customers, you know. So this is how the traditional markets work. It's based on social network and long relationship with customers to underpin their continued existence, you know. But one question that remains is, how far does loyalty, you know, to traditional methods to sell products stretch in the face of price competition, wider product choice of high quality, and convenience, you know? So these are issues in the external environment, you know, that are creating challenges, you know. So you have price competition, wider range of products. So customers have a lot to choose from. And then convenience is one thing as well. So this is one thing that the traditional markets are facing. It's becoming a problem for them because there's a lot of price competition going on, because that's what people are doing, using the loss leader selling approach, you know, and other marketing activities, we are told, to attract customers. And there's a wide range of products as well. And people are offering convenience. So you can, you know, you can go to the store late in the night and it will be open for you. It will be open for you. And it says they also ensure that their remaining customers get the choice they need rather than perhaps offering products they cannot afford. So yeah, there's an increasing desire to give customers option, So the traditional markets are under pressure to sell more and have been responding by an increasing focus on fresh produce, you know. So the traditional markets who have seen that there's a lot of competition going on, so they are also trying to venture into the fresh produce space. So let's see how that goes. You know, let's see how that goes. Why are they trying to venture into the fresh produce space? Are there any opportunities there that they are seeing? There are probably some opportunities that they are seeing that is making them make that move, you know. So this is the first part of this analysis. This analysis will probably be like a 5-part series. And so basically, this is where we would end this one. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll be posting more analysis of this case study. As you can tell, we are not done yet, but we are taking it bit by bit. And so thank you very much for joining, and have an awesome day.